Sanders Secretary of State Marco Rubio set to brief the Congressional Gang of Eight this afternoon on possible U.S. action against Iran. Let's bring in Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst, a member of the Armed Services Committee. Senator, always great to see you, particularly on this State of the Union Tuesday. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Of course. Thanks, John.
So the president is again reminding Iran on Truth Social, time to make a deal or else. He posted this. He said, I am the one that makes the decision. I would rather have a deal than not. But if we don't have a deal, it will be a very bad day for that country and very sadly its people, because they are great and wonderful. And something like this should never have happened to them. Yes. You're on Armed Services. Which way do you think the president's going to go on this?
Well, obviously, John, this is the president of peace. We have seen substantial agreements under this president when it comes to other regions around the globe that have been in conflict. So, of course, let's go to the negotiating table. But I tell you what, when negotiations fail, if they do, this president will be ready to act. He wants to make sure not only there's peace and stability across the Middle East, that the people of Iran are safe, but that we are protecting our own interests and our own homeland.
Steve Witkoff's headed back to Geneva on Thursday for meetings with Iran and what's believed to be one last-ditch attempt to strike a deal. Here is Witkoff's assessment of the talks so far. Listen here.
The president asked me that this morning, and I don't want to use the word frustrated. He's curious as to why they haven't, I don't want to use the word capitulated, but why they haven't capitulated.
You know, they probably have not capitulated because for decades, Iran has played games with successive U.S. administrations, trying to play a little bit of cat and mouse, stretch things out while they develop their nuclear program and whatever else it is in terms of malign activities. But it would appear to me that based on President Trump's recent pronouncement, the time for playing games is over.
Absolutely, John. And we saw the disastrous JCPOA, that original nuclear agreement under President Obama, and what an absolute failure it was. The president, President Trump, recognizes it was a failure. But again, he is the president of peace. He doesn't want to engage in a war. What he wants to do is bring the regime to the negotiating table, find an end to their nuclear armament, get rid of ballistic missiles, and end the funding to these proxy terrorists that have threatened not just the Middle East, but also Americans as they travel abroad and here in the homeland. So if we can't find resolution there, this president will be ready to react, not with an endless war, but with precision strikes against the Iranian mullahs and those that are trying to strike fear in America and Israel. So again, this president will act, but he is trying to give peace a chance.
In terms of precise targeted strikes versus a prolonged war, some interesting perspective from Axios today. We talked to people close to one of the president's top advisors, General Dan Kane. They wrote this, quote, while Kane was all in on the Venezuela operation, he has been more cautious in the discussions around Iran, two sources said. Citing that contrast, one source described Kane as a, quote, reluctant warrior on Iran. Kane sees the stakes of a major operation in Iran as higher, with a greater risk for entanglement and American casualties, the two sources said. There's a lot of thinking that if you were to strike Iran in a broad fashion, as opposed to just, kind of a wake-up call that the president's been talking about maybe in the interim, but if there were to be a broader series of attacks against Iran that may also involve Israel, the potential of falling into a regional war increases, and one that may last an awfully long time.
Yes, and John, I travel extensively throughout the Middle East, and we have wonderful partners, not just with Israel, but also with our Arab nations, those that are friendly to the United States. And the broad agreement is that we do want to find a peaceful solution to end this standoff, basically between Iran, Israel, the United States. We know that we need stability in that region. I have the greatest admiration and respect respect for both President Trump and for General Dan Kane. And together they make quite a fearsome team. We don't want the risk associated with a long-term war. That's why we have to be very, very careful in the types of strikes that we engage in. And hopefully no conventional forces will be needed on the ground. So God bless them both. Let's give peace a chance. If it doesn't work, I'm with President Trump.
As we mentioned, tonight is State of the Union night. You've got a guest who's going to be accompanying you, Ariana Howard, who is the widow of Staff Sergeant William Howard, one of 2 Iowa Guardsmen who were killed in a counterterrorism operation in Syria back on December the 13th. As a former member yourself of the Iowa National Guard, this has to be a very special moment for you.
It is. I am so humbled to have Ariana Howard as my guest. I'm a very proud member of the Iowa Army National Guard, and our Iowa National Guard is a family, a very tight family. And to bring the widow of Sergeant Nate Howard with me this evening, again, I am truly humbled. She has given so much for our country and defense of our nation.
Well, God bless her and all the other military families out there. As you know, they are the ones who sacrifice every bit as much as the service members themselves. Senator, always great to catch up with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.